Hello children. Today we're going to discuss the summary of chapter 6 from your Footprint Without Feet book, and the name of the chapter is The Making of a Scientist, and it is written by Robert W. Peterson. Robert W. Peterson was born on February 11th, 1925. He was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine articles and books, mainly on the topic of sports and scouting. Peterson's book, The Boy Scouts: An American Adventure, was written in 1984 on the eve of 75th anniversary of the Boy Scouts of America. Peterson also wrote numerous articles for Scouting magazine between 1970s to 1990s. So now let's start the summary of The Making of a Scientist. In this lesson, the author has presented the views of a scientist on the scientific world with a new theory. Richard H. Albright and his college roommates explained the theory in an article published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science when he was barely 22 years old. He excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. His first experiment started with butterflies. Albright did not play football or basketball. He had fascination only for collecting butterflies. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. His mother encouraged him. She took him on trips. She also bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, and other equipments. Albright sold his article at 15 to a scientific journal. It was like a home run scored in the game of baseball. Albright's mother said that she was his friend until he started school. She would bring home friends for him. He was her whole life after her husband's death. Richie was in 3rd grade then. Albright's mother would find work for Richie if he had nothing to do. It was for learning. He wanted to learn. He earned top grades in school. When he was in 2nd grade, he had collected 25 species of butterflies. These were found around his hometown. Then Albright's mother gave him a children's book. It was The Travels of Monarch 10th. It told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America. This opened the world of science to Albright. Readers were also invited to help them study butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. of Toronto University. Albright also attached light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. He also made an experiment on female monarch, took her eggs, raised them in his basement through their life cycle. The life cycle was like this: egg, butterfly, pupa, and then adult butterfly. His basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. While in 8th grade, Albright tried to find the cause of a viral disease which killed all monarch caterpillars every few years. According to him, the disease might be carried by a beetle. He was also testing the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarch. Albright's project was also placed first in the geology division. In the country science fair, it also stood 3rd. The next year, his science fair project was testing the theory. The theory was the viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. The theory was that viceroy look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. Viceroys taste good to birds, so the more they look like monarch, the less likely they are to become a bird's food. His project was to see if birds would eat monarchs. He found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarchs it would get. In his 2nd year in high school, Albright began the research. It led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it led to his new theory of the life of cells. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, but Dr. Ohart did not believe it. To find the answer, Albright and another student built a device. It showed that the spots were producing a hormone. It was necessary for the butterfly's full development. This project won Albright's first place in the country fair. It also won an entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There he won third place for geology. He also got a chance to work in Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. As a high school junior, he continued his advanced experiments on the monarch pupa. That year, his project won first place at the International Science Fair. In his senior year, he grew cell from a monarch wing in a culture. He showed that the cell would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scales. This would be only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. That project won first place for geology at the International Fair. He also worked at the Army lab and at the US Department of Agriculture's lab. The following summer, Ebright went back to the Department of Agriculture's lab. There he worked on the hormone theory. Finally, he was able to identify the hormone's chemical structure. A year and a half later, Ebright got the idea for his new theory about cell life. He did so while seeing the X-ray photos of this chemical structure. The photos gave him the answer to one of the biology puzzles. It was how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. DNA is the substance of the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It is the blueprint for life. Ebright and his college roommates James R. Wong drew pictures and constructed plastic models. They made them to show how it could happen together. They later wrote the paper examining the theory. Surprisingly, Richard Ebright graduated from Harvard with highest honors. He also became a graduate student research at Harvard Medical School. There he began experimenting to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding life processes. It might also lead to new ideas. This would be new for preventing types of cancer and other diseases. Ebright has other interests also. He became a champion debater and public speaker. He is also an expert photographer of nature and scientific exhibits. Ebright also found someone to admire. He was Richard A. Weyher, his social studies teacher. Ebright said about him that he opened his mind to new ideas. His social science teacher spoke highly of Ebright about his interests. He won because he wanted to do the best job. These things are necessary in making of a scientist. Start with a first-rate mind. Add curiosity and mix in the will to win for the right reasons. Ebright had these qualities. So this was the summary of the lesson, The Making of a Scientist. I hope you understood the summary very well, and now when you look at the questions of this chapter, it will be easy for you to answer them all.